Lamar Jackson adds to his MVP resume in the Ravens win over the Texans. We're going to discuss if Lamar Jackson should win the MVP. Will he win the MVP? It's basically down to him and Josh Allen. And I'm going to make the case, for and the case against Lamar Jackson this season. So let's just get right into it. If you're new to this channel, welcome to Flog Talk, your home for all things Baltimore Ravens football. If you're new here and you love the Baltimore Ravens, all we do is talk about your favorite team, so make sure you like and subscribe. But let's get into the topic today, and that is the MVP race. Okay, it's being one of the most widely covered discussions and topics in the national media landscape right now, and rightfully so. It's down to two amazing players at the quarterback position. And to begin, I need to go back to last year, okay, because the big argument I'm seeing from Ravens fans is that, look at the stats, right? Look at the stats. Lamar Jackson, just under 4,000 passing yards, 39 passing touchdowns, 850 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. And Josh Allen trails in all of those except rushing touchdowns. He has 11 to Lamar Jackson's 4. But Josh Allen is the betting favorite. So for all the Ravens fans who, I think you have a very legitimate argument to sit here and say, look at the stats. Look at the stats. Lamar Jackson is having the best season of his career. This is the best version of Lamar Jackson we've seen. Listen, I hear you. I agree with you. Preach, brother, preach. But it should be completely fair and objective and transparent. Last season, I made the case, along with a ton of other Ravens fans, guys, I'm dragging you in the boat with me, that, look, stats don't always tell the full story. And that is, one reason Lamar Jackson should win, because just watch the games. The impact Lamar Jackson makes in the games is what is the reason he should be the MVP. And I stand by that argument. I think that is a very legitimate argument. Stats don't always tell the full story. And in Josh Allen's case this year, you can make that exact same argument. I've seen, Chris Sims, I think, pointed out, and he made a really great point, in that the MVP, similar to the Heisman Trophy, oftentimes comes down to big moments in the season. Okay, in college football, oftentimes we see and hear people talk about a player's Heisman moment, and there is some legitimacy to that argument. And in my honest, objective opinion, Josh Allen has more quote-unquote moments than Lamar Jackson does this season. Okay, Lamar Jackson's had an amazing season. So before Ravens fans hop in the comments and say X, Y, and Z, Josh Allen, in fairness, has had more moments, such as being the only team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. That was a big moment. Going on the road to beat the Lions, in which that was an amazing game, and the Bills narrowly pulled that one out. Another big moment. Also, a game against the Rams, in which the Bills' defense absolutely let down Josh Allen and that offense. They made a very inspired comeback, but couldn't get it done at the end of the game. Those are all 3 big moments that I think make a strong case for Josh Allen. Additionally to that, I know myself, and again, a lot of Ravens Nation, if the roles were flipped, okay, let's look back to preseason. How many people thought that the Bills were going to be the 2nd seed in the NFL after losing Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis? Who thought the Bills were going to be the 2nd seed in a very good AFC? Not me. Okay, I fully expected them to drop off some, and when they played the Ravens and the Texans in back-to-back weeks, I thought, well, here you go. This is what I expected. The drop-off. Josh Allen doesn't look great. The offense doesn't look great. This is what pretty much we all expected. But to their credit, they pulled off a great season. They're 12-3 right now. They're about to lock down the 2nd seed. And I know myself well enough to know that if this were flipped and the same narrative was the Ravens, and Lamar had that supporting cast, because that's been another strong argument that I think we have made, is the supporting cast Lamar Jackson has had. If the roles were flipped and Lamar Jackson went into the season with his supporting cast and then ended up the 2nd seed, beat the Chiefs, went on the road to beat the top seed in the NFC, Lions, these were things that we would sit here and say, look, this is why. Stats, don't worry about the stats. Look at what he's done on the field. That is a very legitimate argument for the Josh Allen camp. However, this is where I admit I am biased, but I think Lamar Jackson this season, if you sit down and watch the games, and I don't say that in a disrespectful way to people who have a different opinion than me, like, you don't watch the games. No. But just sitting there watching Lamar Jackson all season, I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL this season. And I know people are like, what? There's no way. Patrick Mahomes? No. Joe Burrow? No. Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the NFL this season, in my opinion. Okay, just what he's done. In this case, the stats do back that up. Okay, his touchdown to interception ratio is nothing short of ridiculous. My goodness, 39 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And keep in mind, 3 of those were off of his receiver's hand. And even the 4th one, I think Rashad Bateman stopped up on his route, and Lamar, I think, expected him to continue. Regardless, it's 4 interceptions. That's the way it is. That's how it's shown on the stat sheet. But either way, almost 40 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That is incredible. With 121 passer rating, if he finishes the season where he's at, it's going to be the second highest in NFL history. Utterly ridiculous. The stats are proving he's on another level. He's at the top echelon of quarterbacks, and almost historically. The dude is ridiculous. The best playmaker, and again, the best quarterback this season, in my opinion. Does it help having Derrick Henry in the backfield? Because that's going to be the other. Well, Josh Allen doesn't have a Hall of Fame running back. But of course it helps. Like, I can't sit here and honestly say that makes no difference. But Lamar Jackson still has to throw the ball. He has to deliver on time. He has to get the offense in the correct call before the snap. All these things fall on Lamar Jackson's shoulders, and he has been masterful this entire season. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson, this team would have lost a heck of a lot more than 5 games. A heck of a lot more than 5 games. Because remember, the first, half or more than half of the season, the defense was absolute cheeks. The defense has rounded a corner, to their credit, in Zach Orr, but Lamar Jackson in this offense held this team together in winning football games. And without him under center, yikes, watch out. It would have been an absolute disaster. Now, here's why I think Josh Allen will win, okay? I've made it clear I think Lamar Jackson should win because I think he's the best quarterback and player in the NFL this season. But there is voter fatigue is very real, okay? And since Lamar Jackson is coming off an MVP, and one in particular that he didn't have the best stats, which favors Josh Allen this season. But because Lamar Jackson won last year, people, it's natural, and I don't even think it's a conscious thing that they want to sit here and say, well, because you won it last year, now you need to way outperform where you were last year. And to Lamar Jackson's credit, he has. He has. This guy, the step that he's taken from last year, year 1 in Todd Monken's system to year 2, I think is ridiculous. I think he's light years ahead in one season. Maybe I'm biased. That's my opinion. And so he's done that. But the problem is the MVP race is close. And to add on to blowing himself out from a year ago, he needs to blow out the rest of the competition in order to secure that back-to-back. And I think that's going to be a problem for Lamar Jackson because it is such a close race for a few of the reasons that I just named, and probably more, but he hasn't created enough distance in the national media. And you may sit back and say, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? A lot of you probably already know. Most of you probably are. Maybe everybody watching this knows. But the national media plays a huge factor in who wins these awards. Okay? And you sit back and go, no. That's not true. It's the best player. Miss me. Just stop. Just stop. That's almost never the case. The media absolutely has a huge pull in who wins these awards. For example, let's use the Heisman Trophy, okay? When was the last Heisman ceremony that you watched that you didn't know who was going to win? You just know by the way the media covers a player, you know who's going to win. That's how we knew Travis Hunter was going to win the Heisman this year. That's how we knew Lamar Jackson was going to win the MVP last year. Just the media coverage. And those big-time moments, I'll go back to it, play a much bigger part in that narrative than maybe we want to give it credit for. Because, again, let's go back to last year when Lamar Jackson won. When they went to San Francisco, remember they had 2 MVP candidates on that team, Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. And it was the consensus surrounding that game was, hey, whoever wins this game, their player is going to be is going to leapfrog the others to the front of that MVP conversation. And because two of them are on the same team, if Brock Purdy goes out and has a massive game, he's going to be the front runner. If Christian McCaffrey goes out there and has a huge game, he's going to be the front runner. Obviously, the Ravens went and intercepted Brock Purdy 4 times. Christian McCaffrey was having a decent game, but they didn't stick with him for some reason. And the Ravens went in there and absolutely smashed the 49ers, and Lamar Jackson was pretty much unanimously agreed upon he's going to be the MVP unless Tyreek Hill comes in with Miami the following week and has a huge game and Miami wins. We, of course, know how that ended. That did not happen. And so it was pretty much a done deal. Like, we knew Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP because he just had this huge moment on top of this great season, securing the number 1 seed in the AFC. And all of that culminated, and I think we all just kind of knew what was going to happen. This season, I think it's going to work against Lamar Jackson in the sense that Josh Allen has the advantage for the bigger moments down the stretch here this season, the few I mentioned. And I think the expectations coming into the season and where the Bills are at today is going to be a massive difference. And I believe the media narrative is going to sway this for Josh Allen to win, because I don't think Lamar Jackson has created enough separation. And not saying Lamar Jackson hasn't been fantastic, because he has, but just because last year he won, people expect a wider gap this season, and I don't think it's been there, even though Lamar Jackson has been otherworldly and amazing this season. So I'm not knocking Lamar Jackson in any way, shape, or form. I think he should be the MVP. I think he's the best player in the NFL. And this season, the stats do back that up. So that's just my opinion. I think Lamar Jackson should, but I think Josh Allen will, unless he doesn't play the final week of the season and Lamar Jackson is able to go out there and ball out on Cleveland and be like the final stamp and get the recency bias for voters, because that is also a real thing. Is the last thing they see is Josh Allen sitting on the sideline in a coat because they already secured the number 2 seed, and Lamar Jackson's out there balling all over the Cleveland Browns. That could play a factor. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I gave you my prediction. Let me know your prediction in the comments. Who do you think will win? Who do you think should win? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know why. I appreciate all of your time and patience for this long video. So make sure you like if you've made it this far. Subscribe if you're new and you love the Baltimore Ravens. And if you don't, then well, you're subscribed anyways. Okay. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Go Ravens.